Picture this. A 14-year-old girl sits alone in her bedroom at 2 a.m. She's crying, not because she failed a test, not because she's being bullied, but because she finally understands calculus. And the person who taught her wasn't a person at all. It was an AI tutor, one that never got tired, never judged her, never made her feel stupid for asking the same questions 7 times. It adapted to her learning style in real time. It knew exactly when to slow down, when to encourage, when to challenge, and it cost her parents $12 a month. Meanwhile, across town, her math teacher, a woman with 2 decades of experience, a master's degree, and a passion that once burned bright, sits at her kitchen table wondering if she'll have a job in 5 years. This isn't science fiction. This is happening right now. In South Korea, AI tutoring platforms have already replaced thousands of private tutors. In China, companies like Squirrel AI are teaching millions of students with algorithms that personalize every lesson. In the United States, Khan Academy's AI tutor can now guide a student through complex problems with the patience of a saint and the knowledge of a library. And here's the part that should terrify every teacher reading this. The AI is getting better every single day. Let me be clear about something. Teachers are some of the most dedicated, passionate, underpaid professionals on earth. They shape minds. They inspire dreams. They change lives. This isn't an attack on teachers. This is a warning about a system that's about to be disrupted in ways we can barely comprehend. Because while we've been debating curriculum standards and fighting for better pay, something silent has been happening in the background. Artificial intelligence has been learning how to teach, and it's learned fast. Consider this. The average classroom teacher in America manages 30 students at once, 30 different learning speeds, 30 different backgrounds, 30 different sets of strengths and struggles. And that teacher has maybe 45 minutes to deliver a lesson that somehow reaches all of them. It's an impossible task. We've known this for decades. We've tried smaller class sizes, differentiated instruction, learning centers, flipped classrooms. All band-aids on a fundamental problem. One human cannot effectively personalize education for 30 other humans simultaneously. But an AI can. An AI can teach 30 students, or 300, or 3 million, and give each one a completely personalized experience. It can detect confusion in milliseconds by analyzing typing patterns. It can explain the same concept in 15 different ways until one finally clicks. It can do this in 50 languages at any hour for anyone with an internet connection. And it never burns out. In 2019, a study by Oxford and Yale economists predicted that 25% of teaching jobs could be automated within 20 years. That seemed wild at the time, alarmist, impossible, but that was before GPT-4, before Claude, before AI systems that can explain quantum physics, write poetry, debug code, and hold Socratic dialogues that would make ancient philosophers weep. Now, that 25% estimate feels conservative. Here's what's already happening. Right now, in 2025, AI systems are grading essays with accuracy that matches human teachers. They're creating personalized study plans. They're identifying learning disabilities earlier than traditional assessments. They're teaching languages with pronunciation feedback that native speakers can't match. And they're doing it for a fraction of the cost of a human teacher. Let's talk about money for a second, because that's what makes this inevitable. The average American school district spends about $15,000 per student per year. Roughly $7,500 of that goes to teacher salaries and benefits. Now imagine an AI platform that can teach all core subjects for $500 per student per year. Same quality, better personalization, available 24/7, consistent results. Do the math. That's a 93% cost reduction. What school board, what government, What profit-driven charter school network is going to ignore that? But AI can't replace the human connection, you might say. Teaching isn't just about information transfer. It's about mentorship, inspiration, the spark that happens when a great teacher sees potential in a struggling student. You're right. You're absolutely right, and it won't matter, because the decision makers aren't in classrooms, they're in boardrooms. And in those rooms, inspiration doesn't show up on a balance sheet. Connection doesn't factor into quarterly earnings. The human element is called an externality. Here's the pattern we've seen in every industry AI has touched. First, it handles the routine tasks. Then it gets better. Then it starts handling the complex tasks. Then someone realizes they can scale it infinitely. Then the jobs start disappearing. It happened to factory workers, to bank tellers, to travel agents, to cashiers, to journalists, to customer service representatives, and now it's happening to teachers. But here's what makes education different. What makes this moment more critical than any other automation wave we've experienced. Teachers don't just transfer knowledge. They shape the next generation's ability to think, to question, to connect, to be human. If we get this transition wrong, if we replace teachers with algorithms without understanding what we're losing, we might save money and lose something we can't even name until it's gone. The stakes have never been higher. So what makes a teaching job safe? What makes it doomed? The answer lies in a simple question. Can what you do be reduced to a pattern? If you teach by following a curriculum guide, if your lessons are the same year after year, if you measure success purely by test scores, if your primary role is delivering information that exists in textbooks, then I'm sorry, but you're teaching like a machine. And machines will always beat humans at being machines. But if you teach by seeing the invisible, the quiet kid with genius hiding behind shyness, the disruptor whose questions challenge everyone to think deeper, the student whose home life is chaos and who needs your classroom to be their sanctuary, then you're doing something no algorithm can replicate. Not yet. Maybe not ever. The question isn't whether AI will replace teachers. It will replace some of them. That's already decided. The question is which teachers survive, which ones evolve, which ones become something new. Something that works alongside AI rather than competing against it. And which ones fight the future until the future doesn't need them anymore. There's a storm coming. It's not a storm of malice or evil. It's a storm of efficiency, economics, and exponential technological growth. And like all storms, it will destroy some things and create others. The classroom of 2030 won't look like the classroom of 2120. The question is whether teachers will be in it. Welcome to part 1. What makes this job safe or doomed? Let's start with the evidence you can't ignore. In 2023, a company called Khanmigo launched within Khan Academy. It's an AI tutor built on GPT-4, designed to guide students through math, science, and humanities with Socratic questioning. Within 6 months, it was being used by over 10,000 students across hundreds of schools. Teachers loved it at first. It was a classroom assistant, not a replacement. It handled the repetitive questions. It gave struggling students extra help without the teacher needing to stay late. It was a tool, but then the data started coming in. Students using Khanmigo improved their test scores by an average of 18% compared to students receiving traditional instruction alone. 18%. That's not marginal, that's transformative. And schools started asking a dangerous question. If the AI can do this as a supplement, what happens if we make it the primary instructor? In 2024, Arizona approved the first fully AI-taught courses for high school credit. The courses were in subjects like algebra, chemistry, and coding, subjects with clear, measurable outcomes. Human teachers still supervised, but the actual instruction came from the algorithm. The cost per student, $400 for a full-year course. The cost of a human teacher teaching the same course, $65,000 in salary, plus benefits, plus classroom space, plus materials. The pattern was revealed, and it's brutal. Here's what David Autor, MIT economist and labor market expert, said in a 2024 interview. If your job follows a pattern, AI can replicate it faster, cheaper, and endlessly. Teaching, as we've structured it in industrial-era schools, is almost entirely pattern-based. We might be looking at the fastest professional disruption in modern history. But let's go deeper. Let's talk about what AI can already do that most people don't realize. Personalized learning at scale. Traditional education is built on a factory model. Students of the same age sit in the same room, learn the same material at the same pace, take the same tests. We know this doesn't work. We've known it for decades. A struggling student falls behind and never catches up. An advanced student gets bored and checks out. The middle 60% get a decent education. The rest suffer in silence. AI doesn't have this problem. Companies like Squirrel AI in China have developed adaptive learning systems that adjust in real time. If a student struggles with quadratic equations, the AI doesn't move forward. It breaks the concept down into smaller pieces, finds the gap in foundational knowledge, and fills it. If a student is breezing through material, the AI accelerates, adding complexity and challenge. In a pilot program in 2023, students using Squirrel AI improved their test scores 3x faster than students in traditional classrooms, 3 times faster. Now imagine you're a parent. Your child is struggling in math. The teacher has 30 other kids to worry about. You can hire a private tutor for $50 an hour, or you can subscribe to an AI platform for $15 a month that's available whenever your child needs help. What do you choose? Automated assessment and feedback grading is one of the most time-consuming parts of teaching. Essays, projects, problem sets. Teachers spend hours every night evaluating student work. AI systems can now grade essays with accuracy that matches experienced teachers. Not just for grammar and structure, but for argument quality, evidence use, and originality. And they do it instantly. A teacher named Maria Santos in California told reporters in 2024, "I used to spend 10 hours a week grading essays. Now the AI grades them, highlights areas for improvement, and generates personalized feedback. I check the AI's work, add my own comments, and I'm done in 2 hours. It's liberating and terrifying, because I keep wondering, if the AI is doing this part, how long before it does everything?" Language instruction. This is where AI has already won. Learning a language requires practice. Lots of it. Speaking, listening, making mistakes, getting corrected, trying again. But in a classroom of 30 students, each student might speak for 5 minutes in a 50-minute class. AI language tutors let students practice for hours. They correct pronunciation in real time. They simulate natural conversations. They never get impatient when you ask, "How do you say this?" for the 100th time. In South Korea, the private tutoring industry, worth over $18 billion annually, has seen a 30% decline since 2020. Not because students stopped needing help, because AI tutors became good enough and infinitely cheaper. Thousands of human tutors lost their livelihoods, quietly, without headlines. Special education and learning disabilities. Here's something unexpected. AI might be better at identifying and supporting students with learning disabilities than human teachers. An AI can detect patterns in how a student reads, writes, or solves problems that indicate dyslexia, dyscalculia, ADHD, or processing disorders. It can do this early, sometimes years before a traditional assessment would catch it, and it can adapt instantly. Larger fonts, slower pacing, audio support, visual aids. Whatever that specific student needs, the AI provides it without making them feel different or broken. A special education teacher in Texas said in a documentary, "The AI doesn't get frustrated. It doesn't have bad days. It doesn't accidentally make a kid feel stupid, and I hate that it's better at this than I am." The CEO quotes, "In March 2024, Sal Khan, founder of Khan Academy, said in an interview, 'In 10 years, every student on Earth will have access to a world-class personal tutor. The question isn't if this will change education. It's whether we'll manage the transition wisely.'" In June 2024, the CEO of Coursera stated, "AI instruction is no longer experimental, it's proven. The only thing holding back mass adoption is institutional inertia and union contracts." In September 2024, a venture capitalist funding ed-tech startups said something chilling. "Teachers are expensive, inconsistent, and they don't scale. AI solves all three problems. This is a trillion-dollar market, and it's just getting started. These aren't fringe voices. These are the people building the future of education. And in their vision, human teachers are optional." The irreversible trend. Let's talk about what happened to other professions. In 2000, travel agents were everywhere. Then websites let people book their own flights. Then algorithms started predicting prices. By 2020, 90% of travel agents were gone. In 2005, bank tellers were common. Then ATMs proliferated. Then mobile banking. Then AI chatbots. Bank teller jobs have dropped by 40% and continue falling. In 2010, journalists wrote most news content. Now algorithms write earnings reports, sports recaps, weather updates. Newsrooms have shrunk by 60%. The pattern is always the same. Technology starts as a tool, then it becomes a replacement, then it becomes the standard. Then the humans are gone. Teaching is following that exact pattern. First, AI was a tool for teachers, presentation software, online resources, grading assistance. Now AI is becoming a supplement, tutoring platforms, adaptive learning systems. Next, AI will become a replacement, primary instruction in certain subjects, especially standardized ones. Finally, AI will become the standard, and human teachers will be the expensive, outdated exception. If your job follows a pattern, AI can replicate it, faster, cheaper, and endlessly. Lecture-based teaching? Pattern. Curriculum-based instruction? Pattern. Standardized test prep? Pattern. Textbook explanations? Pattern. Assignment creation? Pattern. Grading? Pattern. All of it can be automated. All of it is being automated right now. There's a phrase in economics, technological unemployment. It means job loss caused not by recession or policy, but by innovation making human labor obsolete. It's happened before, but never at this speed, never at this scale, and never to a profession as foundational as teaching. The teachers who survive won't be the ones who resist this. They'll be the ones who see the pattern changing and change with it. But here's the hard truth that nobody wants to say out loud. Most teachers aren't trained for this transition. Most education programs don't teach AI literacy. Most schools don't have the resources to retrain staff. Most teachers are exhausted, underpaid, and barely surviving the job as it exists now. And now, we're telling them they need to reinvent themselves or become obsolete. It's not fair, it's not right, but it's happening. So, what happens to those who refuse to adapt? Chapter 3, The Transformation, Hope and Reinvention. But let's pause, take a breath. Because every story of destruction is also a story of creation. There's a concept in economics called creative destruction. It was coined by Joseph Schumpeter in 1942, and it describes how innovation doesn't just destroy old industries, it creates new ones, often better ones, often ones we couldn't have imagined. When the printing press was invented, scribes lost their jobs. thousands of them. Men who had spent their entire lives meticulously copying manuscripts by hand suddenly found their skills worthless. It seemed like a tragedy, but the printing press didn't end literacy. It democratized it. It made books affordable. It sparked the Renaissance, the Reformation, the scientific revolution. The scribes disappeared, but humanity gained access to knowledge on a scale that transformed civilization. When electricity replaced gas lamps, lamplighters lost their jobs. When cars replaced horses, blacksmiths and stable workers faced unemployment. When the internet emerged, entire industries, record stores, video rental shops, print newspapers, vanished. And yet, here we are. The human species hasn't run out of work. We've evolved. We've found new roles, new purposes, new ways to contribute. The question isn't whether teachers will disappear. The question is what they'll become. Here's the truth that should give us hope. AI is extraordinarily good at tasks that follow rules. It's good at pattern recognition, data processing, optimization, and consistency. But it's not good, at least not yet, at the things that make us human. Empathy, inspiration, moral reasoning, creativity. The ability to see a troubled kid and know that the real problem isn't that they don't understand algebra. It's that their parents are divorcing and they need someone to tell them it's going to be okay. AI can't walk into a classroom and feel the energy shift. It can't tell when a student's silence is concentration versus confusion versus crisis. It can't inspire a teenager to care about poetry when they've decided the world is meaningless. At least, not in the way a human can. And this is where the transformation begins. Imagine a future where teachers aren't primarily information deliverers, where the AI handles the lectures, the practice problems, the grading, the remediation. The AI is the tireless tutor that ensures every student masters the basics, and the teacher becomes something else, a mentor, a guide, a question asker, someone who helps students figure out not just what to learn, but why it matters. Someone who designs experiences, facilitates discussions, builds connections between subjects. Someone who sees the human being behind the test score. In this future, the teacher's job isn't to fill a student's head with facts. It's to light a fire in their heart. There are schools already experimenting with this model. AltSchool, a network of micro-schools in the US, uses AI for personalized instruction while teachers focus on project-based learning, social-emotional development, and individualized mentorship. The Khan Lab School in California has students learn core content through AI-driven platforms, freeing teachers to run Socratic seminars, creative workshops, and real-world problem-solving projects. These aren't budget cuts masquerading as innovation. These are redesigns that make teaching more human, not less. One teacher at Khan Lab School, a former traditional classroom instructor, said, "I used to spend 60% of my time lecturing and 40% connecting with students. Now it's reversed. I spend 10% checking that the AI is working properly and 90% doing what I became a teacher to do, inspiring young people to think, to care, to become who they're meant to be." Let's talk about historical parallels. When the Industrial Revolution mechanized production, people feared mass unemployment. And yes, millions of agricultural workers lost their jobs. But new jobs emerged: factory workers, engineers, managers. Eventually, service jobs, creative jobs, knowledge jobs. The nature of work changed, but work itself didn't disappear. When the internet emerged in the 1990s, people predicted the death of retail, banking, and media. And yes, those industries were decimated. But new industries exploded: e-commerce, social media, app development, digital marketing, content creation. Jobs that didn't exist in 1990 now employ millions. The pattern is clear. Technology destroys specific jobs, but it creates new categories of work that we can't foresee. So what are the new categories for educators? AI learning designers. Someone needs to create the curriculum that AI delivers. This isn't just uploading a textbook, it's designing adaptive learning pathways, creating engagement mechanics, ensuring cultural relevance. Teachers who understand both pedagogy and technology will be invaluable here. Human development specialists. As AI handles academics, there will be massive demand for educators who focus on social-emotional learning, character development, mental health, and life skills. Teaching students how to collaborate, how to fail gracefully, how to find meaning. These are things AI can't do. Hybrid classroom orchestrators, managing a learning environment where AI handles individual instruction, while the teacher facilitates group projects, discussions, and real-world applications. This requires new skills, but it's a role that maximizes what both humans and machines do best. Ethical technology guides. Students growing up with AI need to understand how it works, where it's biased, when to trust it, when to question it. Teachers who can navigate this will be essential. Community learning facilitators. Education might move beyond buildings. Teachers could become designers of learning experiences in museums, libraries, businesses, online communities, anywhere learning happens. This isn't fantasy. These roles are already emerging. But here's the romantic part, the human part. Every great teacher has a story, a moment when they inspired a student to see something differently, to believe in themselves, to pursue a dream they didn't know they had. Those moments don't happen because of information transfer. They happen because of connection. Because of a human seeing another human's potential and reflecting it back to them. An AI can teach you calculus, but it can't tell you that you're capable of more than you believe. It can't look you in the eyes during your worst moment and remind you that you matter. It can't love you. And education, at its deepest level, is an act of love. This is what we must protect. This is what we must evolve toward. The future of teaching isn't humans versus machines. It's humans plus machines, working in partnership, each doing what they do best. The machines handle the patterns, the humans handle the purpose. The machines ensure everyone learns. The humans ensure everyone becomes. Every machine replaces a task, but never a dream. Chapter 4, The Playbook, The Path to Survival. So how do you survive? How do you make sure you're not just a statistic in the great AI disruption of education? Here's the playbook. It's not complicated, but it requires courage. It requires letting go of the teaching you know and embracing something new. Step 1. Audit your job. Sit down with brutal honesty and divide everything you do into 2 categories: tasks that follow a pattern or algorithm. Tasks that require human judgment, creativity, or connection. Be ruthless. Most of teaching as it's currently structured falls into category 1. Lecturing from a textbook, pattern. Giving the same assignments year after year, pattern. Grading multiple choice tests, pattern. Following a prescribed curriculum, pattern. Now look at category 2. What are you doing that truly requires a human? Having a conversation with a student about their fear of failure, human. Noticing that a kid who's usually engaged is withdrawn and checking in with them, human. Adapting a lesson in real time because you sense confusion or boredom, human. Designing a project that connects math to social justice because you know your students care about equity, human. Here's the hard part. If 80% or more of what you do falls into category 1, you're at risk. Not because you're a bad teacher, but because you're teaching in a way that AI can replicate. You need to shift the balance, deliberately, immediately. Step 2. Learn to use AI as a tool, not a threat. This might sound paradoxical, but the teachers who survive the AI revolution will be the ones who embrace it first. Not because they're betraying their profession, because they're evolving it. Start using AI tools in your classroom. Use them to generate practice problems, to create personalized study guides, to provide instant feedback on drafts. Use them to free up your time for the things that matter. An English teacher in Oregon described it this way: "I used to spend hours grading essays. Now I use an AI to provide initial feedback on grammar, structure, and argument. Then I read the essay myself, focusing on voice, originality, and depth. The AI handles the mechanics. I handle the soul. And suddenly I have time to conference with every student about their writing, not just grade it." That's not AI replacing a teacher. That's a teacher using AI to become more effective. The future belongs to educators who see AI as a superpower, not a replacement. Think of it like calculators in math class. When calculators became common, some teachers fought them, claiming they'd make students unable to do arithmetic. But smart math teachers realized calculators freed students to work on higher-level problem solving instead of getting stuck on computation. AI is the same principle, scaled up massively. Step 3. Develop irreplaceable skills. What can you do that an AI can't? This is the question that should guide your professional development for the next 5 years. Here are the skills that are AI-proof, at least for now. Relationship. Building students don't just need information. They need to be seen, known, valued. Invest time in building genuine relationships. Learn their stories. Notice their struggles. Celebrate their growth. This is something no algorithm can replicate. Complex problem solving in ambiguous situations. AI excels when problems are well defined. It struggles with messy, real-world problems where the variables are unclear. Teach students how to navigate uncertainty, how to ask better questions, how to think when there's no clear answer. Ethical reasoning AI can tell you what's legal or efficient, but it can't tell you what's right. As our world becomes more complex, the ability to reason through ethical dilemmas, to weigh competing values and make principled decisions, becomes more valuable. Creativity and synthesis. AI can generate content, but it struggles with true originality, combining ideas from different domains in novel ways. Teach students to make unexpected connections, to see patterns across disciplines, to create something new, not just recombine what exists. Inspiration and motivation. A robot can deliver a motivational speech, but it can't make you believe in yourself the way a human mentor can. Develop your ability to inspire, to help students find their purpose, to believe in them even when they don't believe in themselves. One teacher who successfully transitioned said, "I stopped trying to be the smartest person in the room. I started trying to be the person who makes everyone else smarter, braver, more curious. That shift saved my career." Step 4. Build, create, own. Don't just be a consumer of education technology. Become a creator. Design your own curriculum. Build your own learning experiences. Develop your own methods that blend AI efficiency with human touch. The teachers who will thrive are the ones who become entrepreneurs within education, who create courses, build platforms, design experiences that others want to license and use. Maybe you create a YouTube channel teaching your subject with a unique approach. Maybe you design project-based learning modules that schools can purchase. Maybe you become a consultant, helping other teachers navigate this transition. Stop thinking of yourself as an employee. Start thinking of yourself as a creator. This is terrifying for many teachers. Teaching has traditionally been a stable, predictable profession. Show up, follow the curriculum, get a paycheck. That era is ending. The new era rewards risk takers. innovators, teachers who see themselves as entrepreneurs of learning. But here's the beautiful part. You already have the skills. You've been creating lessons, solving problems, adapting to student needs. You just need to scale those skills beyond your classroom. Step 5. Never stop learning. The half-life of career skills is shrinking. What you learned in your teacher training program 10 years ago is already outdated. What you learn today might be obsolete in 3 years. You need to become a perpetual learner. Take online courses in AI, data literacy, instructional design, educational neuroscience. Learn to code, even just a little. Understand how these systems work so you can use them effectively and teach students to do the same. Join communities of innovative educators, online forums, local meetups, conferences. Surround yourself with people who are experimenting, failing, learning, and evolving. The teachers who say, "I'm too old to learn new technology," or "I just want to teach the way I always have," are the ones who won't make it. And that's heartbreaking, but it's true. Real stories of reinvention. Let me tell you about Anna, a high school history teacher in Michigan. In 2023, she saw the writing on the wall. Her lectures were good, but she knew an AI could deliver the same content better. So she transformed her class. She had students use an AI tutor to learn the historical facts and dates. Then her class time became something else entirely. Students researched local history, interviewed community elders, created documentaries, hosted debates on historical ethics. Anna became a curator of experiences rather than a deliverer of content. Her students learned more history than ever before, and Anna's job became more fulfilling, not less. She said, "I was terrified of AI replacing me. Then I realized it could free me. Now I'm doing what I always wanted to do but never had time for, helping students fall in love with history, not just memorize it." Or consider Marcus, an elementary teacher in California who saw AI grading become mainstream and panicked. Instead of fighting it, he learned everything he could about AI in education. He became his district's AI integration specialist, training other teachers, troubleshooting systems, designing hybrid learning models. His salary went up 40%, his job security is rock solid, and he's shaping how his entire district navigates this transition. These are the teachers who win, the ones who see change coming and run toward it instead of away from it. The mindset shift. At its core, survival isn't about technical skills, it's about mindset. You can either see yourself as a victim of technological change or as an agent of educational evolution. You can either mourn the death of the old teaching model or help birth something better. You can either resist until you're forced out or adapt until you're indispensable. The choice is yours, but the clock is ticking. Adaptation isn't just intelligence, it's survival written in human code. Chapter 5. The Resolution, Extinction or Evolution. Let me tell you a story. 200 million years ago, the dinosaurs ruled the Earth. They were the apex, the pinnacle, the definition of success in their age. And then the world changed. An asteroid struck, the climate shifted, the rules were rewritten overnight. Some dinosaurs went extinct, the massive ones, the rigid ones, the ones so specialized that they couldn't adapt. But others evolved. They got smaller. They grew feathers. They learned to fly. Those dinosaurs didn't disappear. They became birds. And today, there are more bird species on Earth than there were dinosaur species at their peak. Extinction or evolution. That's the choice facing teachers right now. You can be the massive Diplodocus, magnificent but inflexible, perfectly adapted to a world that no longer exists. Or you can be the small, strange creature that survives by transforming into something new. The choice seems obvious when I put it that way. But in the moment, evolution feels like loss, like betrayal, like giving up who you are. A veteran teacher of 30 years told me, "I became a teacher to connect with students, to inspire them. But now I'm being told I need to learn coding, AI literacy, data analysis. I didn't sign up for this. This isn't what teaching is supposed to be." And I understand that grief. But here's the truth. Teaching has never been static. It's never been one thing. The teaching methods of 1950 would be unrecognizable to an 1850 educator. The teaching methods of today would baffle a 1950 teacher. The profession has always evolved. We've just evolved slowly enough that it felt like continuity. This time, the evolution is faster. That's what's terrifying. But the core hasn't changed. The purpose hasn't changed. Teaching has always been about one thing: helping a human being become more fully themselves. That's not being automated. That's not being replaced. That's being liberated. Because for the first time in history, we have tools that can handle the mechanical parts of education so well that teachers are freed to focus entirely on the human parts. Imagine a world where no student falls behind because the AI catches every gap immediately. Where no student is bored because the AI adjusts the challenge level in real time. Where every student gets the repetition they need, the encouragement they need, the pace they need. And the teacher gets to focus on the questions that don't have answers in textbooks. What do you want your life to mean? How do we build a just society? What's worth sacrificing for? Who do you want to become? These are the conversations that change lives, and teachers have never had enough time for them because they've been too busy delivering content that's now available on demand. AI isn't stealing the soul of teaching. It's finally making space for it, but only if teachers choose to evolve. The two paths. Here's what the future looks like on each path. Path 1. Resistance. You fight the AI. You insist that nothing can replace a human teacher. You cling to the old methods, the old structures. Maybe you're right philosophically, but you're wrong practically. Schools face budget cuts. AI platforms offer better outcomes for less money. Slowly, the human teaching positions shrink. First in wealthy districts that can afford innovation, then everywhere. You become more expensive and less relevant with each passing year. Early retirement becomes attractive, then necessary. And you leave the profession bitter, feeling replaced by machines, robbed of the calling you loved. This isn't a dystopian fantasy. This is the pattern from every other disrupted industry. It's what happened to people who refused to adapt, and it was painful to watch. Path 2. Evolution. You embrace the AI. You learn to use it as a tool that amplifies your impact. You shift from being a content deliverer to being a human developer. You still teach, but differently. Your classroom becomes a lab, a workshop, a studio. Students learn the basics from AI. They come to you with questions about meaning, application, connection. You design projects that matter. You facilitate discussions that challenge. You mentor students through their struggles. You help them find their purpose. And you find that your job becomes more fulfilling, not less. Because you're doing the parts of teaching that made you fall in love with it in the first place. You're still a teacher. You've just become the kind of teacher the future needs. The human element. Let's get philosophical for a moment. What does it mean to be human in an age of artificial intelligence? For thousands of years, humans defined ourselves by what we could do. We could make tools, create art, solve problems, build civilizations. We were the intelligent species, but now we're building intelligences that can do many of those things better than us, faster, more accurately, more efficiently. So what's left? What's left is what was always there, hiding beneath the surface. Connection, love, meaning, purpose. The inexplicable feeling of being seen by another consciousness and seeing them in return. The moment when a teacher looks at a struggling student and says, "I believe in you." and the student's entire world shifts. The moment when a student asks a question that challenges everything, and the teacher feels that electric thrill of genuine curiosity sparking in the room. The moment when learning stops being about the content and becomes about transformation. These moments don't happen because information moved from one brain to another. They happen because two human beings connected over something that matters, and no algorithm, no matter how sophisticated, can manufacture that. At least not yet, maybe not ever. And that's where hope lives. The New Teaching Manifesto. If you're a teacher reading this, here's what I want you to remember. You are not obsolete. You are not being replaced. You are being challenged to evolve into something more essentially human than teaching has been in a century. The industrial model of education, where teachers were human information delivery systems, was never ideal. It was a compromise, the best we could do with the technology and resources we had. But you were never meant to be a content delivery system. You were meant to be a guide, a mentor, a mirror that reflects students' potential back to them. AI is just clearing away the scaffolding so we can finally build the structure we always wanted. But you have to choose it. You have to step into it. You have to let go of teaching as labor and embrace teaching as art. Here's your manifesto. I am not an information source. I am a catalyst for transformation. I don't compete with AI. I partner with it. I measure success not by test scores, but by the dreams I help students discover. I audit my work constantly, eliminating what machines do better and amplifying what only humans can do. I adapt without apology, because adaptation is how living things survive. I build, create, and own my professional evolution. I am not afraid of the future, because I am helping to create it. This is the teacher who survives. This is the teacher who thrives. The call. There's a phrase I want to leave you with. 4 words that might save your career and redefine your profession. Audit, adapt, build, own. Audit your job ruthlessly. Know what AI can do and what only you can do. Adapt your methods constantly. What worked last year might not work next year. Stay flexible. Build your own path. Don't wait for your school or district to figure this out. Take ownership of your evolution. Own your identity as an educator, not a victim of change, but an architect of it. These 4 words are your survival code. Tattoo them on your consciousness, because the world doesn't need more teachers who can lecture. It has YouTube for that. It has Khan Academy. It has AI that can explain calculus in 50 different ways until you understand. What the world needs, what it will always need, are humans who can help other humans figure out who they want to become. It needs people who can sit across from a teenager spiraling into despair and say, "You matter. Your life has meaning. Let me help you find it." It needs people who can look at a child from a broken home and see not a problem to be solved, but a soul to be nurtured. It needs people who remember that education isn't about creating workers. It's about creating humans. The promise. If you do this, if you evolve instead of resist, if you embrace the partnership between human wisdom and artificial intelligence, I can make you a promise. Your job will change, but it will also become more meaningful. You'll have less time grading papers and more time changing lives. You'll have less time delivering content and more time facilitating discovery. You'll have less time being a human textbook and more time being the teacher you always dreamed of being. And 50 years from now, when your former students tell stories about the teachers who changed their lives, your name will be among them. Not because you taught them chemistry or algebra or history, but because you saw them. You believed in them. You helped them become. That's something no AI will ever take from you. The final word. We stand at a crossroads. One path leads to obsolescence. Teachers clinging to the old ways, watching their profession slowly automated into extinction, bitter and defeated. The other path leads to Renaissance. Teachers reimagined as human development specialists, working alongside AI to create an education system that actually serves every student, not just the middle 60%. The choice is ours, and it's not a choice we can delay. The future is here. It's not coming. It's happening right now in classrooms and boardrooms and legislative sessions across the world. And you, yes, you, the teacher reading this, you get to decide which future you inhabit. You can be the dinosaur or the bird, the fossil or the phoenix, the ending or the beginning. I know what I believe. I believe in human resilience. I believe in our capacity to adapt, to evolve, to transform challenges into opportunities. I believe that 100 years from now, people won't look back and say, "Remember when AI destroyed teaching?" They'll say, "Remember when AI finally freed teachers to be fully human? Remember when education became about developing souls, not just filling heads? Remember when we got it right?" But that only happens if we choose it. So here's my final question to you. Will you fight the future until it doesn't need you anymore? Or will you dance with it, adapt to it, help shape it into something beautiful? The classroom of 2030 is coming. The only question is whether you'll be in it. Humanity isn't ending, it's just beginning again. Audit, adapt, build, own. That's your code. That's your survival. That's your evolution. The choice is yours. But choose quickly, because the future doesn't wait for anyone. Outro, call to action. If you believe in human evolution over human extinction, if you believe teachers can become more, not less, if you believe the best of education is still ahead of us, then subscribe, share this, join the conversation, because this isn't just about teachers. It's about all of us. It's about what kind of world we're building, what kind of humans we want to become. The algorithm can deliver information, but only we can deliver hope. Let's make sure we never forget that. I don't compete with AI. I partner with it. I measure success not by test scores, but by the dreams I help students discover. I audit my work constantly, eliminating what machines do better and amplifying what only humans can do. I adapt without apology because adaptation is how living things survive. I build, create, and own my professional evolution. I am not afraid of the future because I am helping to create it. This is the teacher who survives. This is the teacher who thrives. There's a phrase I want to leave you with. 4 words that might save your career and redefine your profession. Audit, adapt, build, own. Audit your job ruthlessly. Know what AI can do and what only you can do. Adapt your methods constantly. What worked last year might not work next year. Stay flexible. Build your own path. Don't wait for your school or district to figure this out. Take ownership of your evolution. Own your identity as an educator. Not a victim of change, but an architect of it. These 4 words are your survival code. Tattoo them on your consciousness, because the world doesn't need more teachers who can lecture. It has YouTube for that. It has Khan Academy. It has AI that can explain calculus in 50 different ways until you understand. What the world needs, what it will always need, are humans who can help other humans figure out who they want to become. It needs people who can sit across from a teenager spiraling into despair and say, "You matter. Your life has meaning. Let me help you find it." It needs people who can look at a child from a broken home and see not a problem to be solved, but a soul to be nurtured. It needs people who remember that education isn't about creating workers. It's about creating humans. If you do this, if you evolve instead of resist, if you embrace the partnership between human wisdom and artificial intelligence, I can make you a promise. Your job will change, but it will also become more meaningful. You'll have less time grading papers and more time changing lives. You'll have less time delivering content and more time facilitating discovery. You'll have less time being a human textbook and more time being the teacher you always dreamed of being. And 50 years from now, when your former students tell stories about the teachers who changed their lives, your name will be among them. Not because you taught them chemistry or algebra or history, but because you saw them. You believed in them. You helped them become. That's something no AI will ever take from you. We stand at a crossroads. One path leads to obsolescence. Teachers clinging to the old ways, watching their profession slowly automated into extinction, bitter and defeated. The other path leads to renaissance. Teachers reimagined as human development specialists, working alongside AI to create an education system that actually serves every student, not just the middle 60%. The choice is ours. And it's not a choice we can delay. The future is here. It's not coming. It's happening right now in classrooms and boardrooms and legislative sessions across the world. And you, yes, you, the teacher listening to this, you get to decide which future you inhabit. You can be the dinosaur or the bird, the fossil or the phoenix, the ending or the beginning. I know what I believe. I believe in human resilience. I believe in our capacity to adapt, to evolve, to transform challenges into opportunities. I believe that 100 years from now, people won't look back and say, "Remember when AI destroyed teaching?" They'll say, "Remember when AI finally freed teachers to be fully human? Remember when education became about developing souls, not just filling heads? Remember when we got it right?" But that only happens if we choose it. So here's my final question to you. Will you fight the future until it doesn't need you anymore? Or will you dance with it, adapt to it, help shape it into something beautiful? The classroom of 2030 is coming. The only question is whether you'll be in it. Humanity isn't ending, it's just beginning again. Audit, adapt, build, own. That's your code. That's your survival. That's your evolution. The choice is yours. But choose quickly, because the future doesn't wait for anyone. If you believe in human evolution over human extinction, if you believe teachers can become more, not less, if you believe the best of education is still ahead of us, then subscribe, share this, join the conversation. Because this isn't just about teachers, it's about all of us. It's about what kind of world we're building, what kind of humans we want to become. The algorithm can deliver information, but only we can deliver hope. Let's make sure we never forget that.